anniversary is coming up of when I went abroad. I left January 13th, 2023, and we're approaching the end of the year now. And I've just been thinking a lot about the past year and being so reflective, and I have so many thoughts about going abroad. I have so many pieces of advice that I wish I could give myself when I went, and recommendations and tips and all of this information that I thought I'd put it in one place. At this point last year, I was binge watching YouTube videos, movies, pieces of music, anything that I could get my hands on related to London, study abroad, and all of this type of stuff. And I really had the best time of my whole life in those 6 months I was abroad. So I thought I'd put my 2 cents into the conversation. I'm sat here with my UK blanket. Can you tell where I studied abroad? So just for context, I am currently a senior, but at the time I studied abroad, I was a second semester junior, and I go to Hofstra University, which is in New York, and we don't have semester-long study abroad programs, so I decided to study abroad through like an outside company because I wanted to do the whole semester. So I studied abroad with CIS abroad, which was the best decision I ever made. Everyone who I worked with in that program, the program directors, on-site directors, were all so nice and so helpful and so supportive. I really couldn't recommend CIS enough. They have 2 universities that they work with in London, University of Westminster and University of Roehampton. I studied with University of Westminster, and I would choose that one every single time, and I would say, from my perspective, not to hate on anyone who chose Roehampton, but Westminster's the way to go. It's centrally located, it's in the city of London. They have 3 campuses, and they're all in different sections of London, which is also super cool because if you befriend people in the program, you get to spend time at each campus, and it's nice to have all those different experiences. They have 2 campuses in Zone 1 of London, which is like the inner city, what you think of as quintessential London, and they have 1 campus in Zone 4, which is where I stayed, which is an area in northwest London by Wembley Arena. Very residential, very cute. I love Harrow. We used to get shit on all the time for being like, oh, you're so far away and like you're in the middle of nowhere, but it was so fun living there. It was like a nice city outside of the city. Got to see more of like residential bits, made way like more friends who were actually going to the school, and there were a lot of other perks that I can talk about later that had to do with living a little bit outside of like the main city part. But the other campuses, Marylebone and Alexander Fleming, which is in Shoreditch, were also like incredible. And it's tough. If I could do it again, I wouldn't pick a different accommodation, but if I could recommend to someone else, I would say definitely live in Marylebone or Fleming. In my accommodation, I had my own room, my own bathroom, and then I shared a kitchen with 5 other students. In the other ones, you have your own room, and in Marylebone, you have your own bathroom, and you share a kitchen, just like in Harrow. And then in Fleming, you share a bathroom with 5 people or 4 people, and you share a kitchen also. And normally there's more people, at least in my program, there were more people from study abroad that lived in those 2 campuses, so a lot of them lived close together. But on mine, we were all in the same like block, but not on the same floor or same like avenue. But me and my best friend lived like the same block, and then I lived on the 1st floor and she lived on the 3rd floor. So that was really cool. I really liked my accommodation. I thought it was super nice. It only took like 15 minutes to get into central London on the tube. The public transportation is so easy to use in London. The tube, the train, it's all very straightforward. Like, my experience with city life before London was New York City, and I dread taking the subway every time. It confuses me every time. I've lived near New York City my whole life, and I'll never love the subway, but I love the tube. So easy, such a different ball game. People are so much more polite. So I would say like a big thing I wish I could tell myself before I went is don't stress so much about where you live, because I used to think, oh no, what if I'm gonna feel left out from what's going on in the city, or what if it's hard to get places. It so wasn't, and I feel like I made the most of everything that happened, and I loved my accommodation at the end of it. I love Harrow. I'll back Harrow till I die, obviously. That's my postcode, HA1. I'm a Harrow girl. I'll defend it till I die. Also, just to touch on like school, because I think this wasn't something I expected either. I took 3 classes and I did an internship. The emphasis on school over there is so different than here. Over there, I had each class 1 time a week. Most of the time, they didn't take attendance. They didn't really care. It's project based, so there wasn't like assignments throughout. It was just like the final thing that you were working on the whole semester. And it was so chill compared to like American school culture in London. It was like, I barely even remembered most of the time that I was in school and forgot that it wasn't just like a big vacation, because that's kind of what it was with school on the side. I'd say more than anything, the thing that stressed me out the most was my internship. What I would say is, if you're going to do an internship, look extensively into what people have to say about the company and the boss, and if it's like legit. I would say definitely do that. Definitely ask people who have worked there before what they thought about it, if they would recommend it, and make your decision based off that. Okay, going off of that, I'm gonna move into some advice for beforehand and like preparation tips, because this was what I stressed out about the most. This would keep me up at night. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do to prepare? How do you prepare for living in a different country for months? I don't want to give like a full list, but I have some things written down, specifically London things. I can't really speak too much on other places. This is just from my experience. The stereotype that Londoners always dress nice is true. You're not going to be going to class in your sweatpants and your pajamas. Leggings are fine, but like, you're not going to go to class looking like you just woke up, like you would, or like I would here. Most of the time I was wearing jeans, good walking shoes, and like sweaters. Also, a big tip is don't bring any hair tools. If you like to blow dry your hair, curl your hair, straighten your hair, you and like a friend can go in on those types of things and share them. That would be my tip. Going to like Primark and buying a hair dryer, that's what I did, and it was the best decision ever. It was like 15 pounds, so cheap, and mine worked really well. So, but you don't want to do that because it's so bulky, and also there's a chance that you might blow a fuse if you put the adapter and then your American plug. You don't want to do that with like a straightener or anything like that. Clothes wise, I'd say my biggest go-tos would be bring going out shoes. If you like to go to clubs, like bring shoes that you don't mind getting dirty, because that's what's gonna happen at a club. I didn't do that and then ended up using the shoes I wore like basically every day, and by the time my 6 months were up, I had to leave those sneakers behind because they were falling apart. Especially in a city like London, you're walking everywhere, so bring shoes that are going to be comfy to walk in and are going to last you the whole time, and then bring separate shoes that you want to like get dirty at the club. Also, I would say everyone had like a staple jacket, and what became like the uniform was a leather jacket. I have this leather jacket that I wore almost every day when I was abroad. Also, I would say bring tights. If you're going in the cold, London can be chilly for sure. And a staple bag. I had a little, what is this called? A shoulder bag that I wore all the time. I'd say a shoulder bag or a crossbody bag are the best because you don't have to like worry about it and it's like on you. Wait, then you're also like protecting it because you don't want anything to get stolen. A huge tip I would say to start thinking about even before you're going and be conscious of, and ever since I went to London I've been so conscious of this: don't put your phone on a table or leave it anywhere, put it in a pocket that you're not paying attention to. Like, people will steal it, and about 5 people in my program got their phone stolen. So be so conscious of that, especially when you're traveling to other places. Like in London it's bad because it's a city, but in other cities it's even worse. Watch out for your phone, watch out for your belongings. Don't let anyone come up to you and grab you, because they're probably distracting you and are gonna steal your phone, and then that's gonna be the worst moment of your whole life. Look out for your things, be conscious of your surroundings. That's just so important. Start thinking about that now. Another thing I have is money. I know a lot of people stress about this. I stressed about it at the beginning. How the fuck are you sorry. How the hell, no. How in the world are you supposed to know how much money you're supposed to have before you go abroad? How much is enough? It really depends. No one can tell you how much is enough. In London, it's very easy to find deals and things, especially if you're young. They have a lot of like cool programs that are built for young people, like at the opera or the ballet. They have like £25 tickets for people under 25, which is amazing. Look for deals for students. Shop at places like Lidl, so cheap, so amazing, for groceries. Get a student Oyster card for a discount. Meal deals, Too Good To Go, Pret subscriptions. Like, there's many ways that you can save money, little ways that add up in the end. Also, something that I wasn't anticipating exactly, like to the extent that it was, is London is contactless for the most part. You're gonna want to set up Apple Pay before you go, because that'll make your life so much easier. Then all you need, there were times where I'd walk around the city and only have my phone and the key to my accommodation. That was it. So I definitely set up Apple Pay. I wouldn't anticipate using cash really at all. I'm sure everyone says this, but like, call your bank. Be like, hey, I'm leaving the country, don't cancel my card. Another money tip, if you like doing things like getting your nails done, your eyebrows done, shopping, thrifting, getting your hair cut, do those in zone 3, 4. Don't do them in fucking Chelsea or Marylebone. Don't do those there, because they're gonna be like double the price. I was getting my nails done, acrylic sets, the whole time I was there, and it was so cheap. I would say if you're going into it with nails or something, it can be done if you want, if you're thinking about that. That was like a big thought in my head. I was debating, do I go there with acrylics or do I not, because how am I going to maintain them? It can be done, and it can be done cheaply. You just have to be strategic about it. I would go to Harrow on the Hill, which was like the town in Harrow. That's where I got my nails done. That's where I went thrifting. When I went shopping, most of the time I would go there. Another tip I have for before is, if you're into football, soccer, get a membership to your club if you want to go see them play. And if you're not into football and you're going to London or really anywhere in Europe, pick a club to support. I'm a big like football girly. Literally right over there is my Chelsea flag. You can't see it, but I spent a lot of time doing things football related because I love it. But even if you don't love it, the culture, especially in London, is so exciting and it's so fun. And even if you're not really into the sport, you can still appreciate like pub culture. Girl advice, this is like me really looking out for you. Pick a club and support them like through and through. It'll make your experience so much more fun. I don't know, it's just like so funny to me. Pick a club and make it Chelsea. That's all I gotta say. Moving on, because I could talk about football forever. My biggest advice for before going is that first impressions are everything. The first moment I got to London and like the first 2 weeks I was there were so defining. So much happened in those first 2 weeks, and I think if you go into it with an open mind and an open heart and you're just friendly to everyone and you're nice, you're gonna get so much more out of the experience. For my program, everyone flew in on January 14th. So everyone got to Heathrow Airport on January 14th, and there was like a certain window that you could get to the airport. I was like one of the first people to get there. I got there super early in the morning, and then I found the program director, met up with a couple people who were also there, and then we sat there the whole day while everyone arrived. And that, I think, is like the best thing they could have ever done, because then you meet everyone in your program right away and you're all sat there for so long just getting to know each other. It was so exciting. We all went to our accommodations together. So my last tip before I get into my recommendations, be prepared to adjust to the culture. If you're from basically any other country in the whole world, British culture is so different. You can't expect people to act how you're used to them acting, and you can't go into it thinking you're always going to be right or that you have nothing to learn, because the whole point of going abroad is to learn things about the world and things about yourself. Like, be open to being wrong and to not knowing, and don't think you're always right because you're probably not gonna be, and there's gonna be times when you're so wrong and you make mistakes, and that's fine. Just be open to new things. Okay, now we're gonna get into the real nitty-gritty, my London recommendations. I think sometimes people have expectations about London, and every time it's gonna exceed them. If you go to the right places, if you eat the right food, talk to the right people, because you can do it so wrong. And I watched people do it so wrong and it felt so upsetting. There was one person, this is my story to prove my qualifications. There was this one guy who was a friend of my cousin, and he had been in London for a couple days, and then he met up with us. And he told me that he didn't like London until we met. He didn't like British food until we met, and I took him to the spots. So I feel like I am very qualified to talk about London recommendations. And this is just what I could think of off the top of my head, like most important, most memorable things. But I would also say, like, just be open to trying anything. Say yes to everything. Try everything. Do it all, because you only live once. That was my motto when I was there. Do it all. You only live once. You'll never be that young in London ever again, or in wherever you're at. You'll never be that young again. So seize the day. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is markets. London has a huge market culture. They're so fun. They're so cute. They're the best places to go no matter the season. I have a lot of favorites. I spent a lot of time at a lot of markets, especially Camden Market. They have the best little shops, food stalls, small businesses, just the best of everything, and it's all super close. Massive. Camden Market is massive, so you can really do anything there, get anything you want. My biggest recommendation there would be Bunsik. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but Korean corn dogs, incredible. I don't even eat meat, and the Korean corn dogs are insane. They're so good. I would recommend that place anytime. I probably went there 10 times in total. So good. I'm pretty sure they have other locations other than Camden Market, but I went to that one a lot. Another really good market for food is Borough Market. That's close to like Tower Bridge, London Bridge area. So adorable. This is one you've probably seen on TikTok a bunch. The chocolate covered strawberries, so good. Ciabatta sandwiches, I think about them all the time. The mushroom risotto, so good. They have good fish and chips. That's especially good if you and a friend are going and you want to eat different things. You can, and then you just like hang out together. Perfect. The food is so good. Anyone who says that food in London is not good, you just haven't been to the right places. Spitalfields Market is also so cute. Such a cute area. Shoreditch is just the best. They also have really cute shops. There's a photo booth there. They also have a shop nearby that has all things matcha. If you're a matcha girl, go to Janky. So fucking good. They have matcha cookies, matcha soft serve, everything matcha that you could ever want. Go there. Portobello Market, I only went there once, and it was when it was like nice and sunny. It was so nice. It's in Notting Hill. Quintessential like movie London. They have so many cute shops and food. It can be really crowded, but it's definitely worth going at least once. I'd also say Columbia Road Market, that's a flower market. So, you know, maybe not buying the flowers is the point, but seeing it is really super nice. I had no idea about many of these markets before I went, but they're all super popular amongst people who live there. They're just so cute. London is so adorable, and they know how to do a good market. And then lastly, Brick Lane Market, so sick. That's just like super cool area of London. Cool street art, cool clothes. It's just a sick area to walk through. My dad really liked that area. Food wise, I would say Definitely have an English breakfast from Weatherspoons. People make fun of Spoons so much. Weatherspoons is like a collection of pubs, very cheap, not the best quality food, but they're so reliable. Great place for a pre, and they're everywhere. They have different names for each one, which is so cute. I always went to the one on Baker Street. It was called the Metropolitan. Love that one. So fun for a pre. But I would definitely say, like, try an English breakfast, have a Sunday roast, do afternoon tea. I did afternoon tea at Harrods one time with my mom. That's like really bougie. That was really cool. But also they have afternoon tea at like little local places, which I did several times. So fun. And also a little random thing, try like fast food places over there. That's always fun. The McDonald's menu specifically in London, like the British McDonald's, so much better than American McDonald's. Like, what the hell? Their menu is so much bigger, especially if you don't eat meat. They have literally everything. Also, if you have any dietary restrictions, allergies, any of that type of stuff, they're very good with being accommodating. Also, food-wise, classics like Pret, that's like a cafe, Bill's on Baker Street, Dylan's, which is a cafe, Wagamama's, so good, Nando's. If anyone says British food is bad, go to Nando's. I don't even have to speak for Nando's. Dishoom, best Indian food. You have to definitely get a reservation there, but it's so good. The Indian food in London is really good. That lives up to the hype. And then my little hidden gem is Best Mangle. I don't know if that's how you say it. Bar and Kitchen. It's in Shoreditch. It's right outside of XOIO, which is a good transition into clubs and nightlife recommendations. I have a lot of experience with this. I went out more than I'd like to admit. Bar wise, I would recommend Simmons, specifically the one in Shoreditch. Oslo, Hackney, that one is so fun. They have cool nights, like themed nights. O'Neill's in Chinatown specifically, they have live music sometimes. I would say don't go on a weekday because that's when like people come from work and it's a lot of like older men. But on a weekend, it's really fun. Be at One Bar, that one's like kind of fancy. They have those in several locations. That's fun to just like go get a drink at. And The Alchemist is also really cool for like a one-time experience. They have really cool themed drinks. Club-wise, this is when I like really thrived. I love a club. So anything related to London clubs, I will know because I went to them all. For big clubs where you have to like buy a ticket, that type of vibe, where it's mainly young people, I would say XOIO is so good. Tuesday nights at Ministry of Sound are uni nights, so you need your school ID to get in. Those are so fun because you want people your own age. And they have really good music there. They have different rooms with different types of music, which was so, I've never experienced anything like that. It was so cool. Fabric is fun to try at least once if you like house music. They don't let you take pictures in there. That's really cool. I had a really good night at Fabric. Some people I went with didn't, but I would recommend it. Then also Scala was a place I went to one night. I had such a good night there. It was so cool. By King's Cross. Roxy, I'm a bit on, but it's good for people around like university age. And then also Heaven is a gay club. It's by the London Eye. So fun. It's really cheap to get in. The people are so nice in there. They play the best music. Couldn't recommend it enough. Tate McRae was there recently. Like, famous people go there. It's so cool. When it comes to like Mayfair clubs, if you're a girl, go. If you can find a promoter, which I would definitely recommend doing, I would definitely say go Tape, Rain, Luna was my favorite, and a regular. I was regularly there. Every Friday I was at Luna. And Cirque. Cirque is fun too. I would definitely recommend at least trying a Mayfair club. That's like a once in a lifetime experience. If you can do it, do it. I would also say if you can go to the Box, go. If you're into that type of thing, if you're into trying everything, you have good friends who want to try everything with you, go to the box. If you know, you know. The box is like so a once in a lifetime experience, and me and my friends still talk about it to this day. Okay, and then like things to do wise, shops, I would recommend like Bershka, Primark, thrift stores if you're trying to keep it in a budget. But also if you're not, like Oxford Street. I never really got into that kind of stuff because I'm a student, but if you have the bank account for it, London is a good place to shop. Parks wise, I spent so much time in Hyde Park and Kensington Gardens. That was like my safe space. The parks in London are so expansive. It's like otherworldly. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm so passionate about a park. But like Regent's Park is also so nice. The green in front of Big Ben, I also spent a lot of time there, especially like at times of the day when no one would be around, like when people would be at school or work. That area is so peaceful to me. Just looking at Big Ben, so surreal. Those types of landmarks never got old to me. So going to see them, especially at times when there was no one really around and just sitting and taking it in, was such an important thing for me to do. Again, going back to football, not to only talk about football, I would definitely say like at least one time go to a pub to watch a match. I would recommend Three Crowns in Shoreditch. That place is really fun. Going to pubs near the stadiums that the teams play in is cool. Doing stadium tours is really fun, pretty cheap too. And I would also recommend Box Park in Wembley or in Shoreditch. Box Park is really cool. I don't really even know how to describe it, but it's just a really cool experience and I would definitely recommend going. Food wise, if an event is going on or just to like wander around. Also, I would definitely recommend Sky Gardens. I know a lot of people talk about it, but I would definitely recommend going. You have to book your spot way in advance, but it's free. So you get this free, really cool view of London. It's really just nice to go up there, something to do. I think I would regret it if I didn't go. It wasn't like the best thing ever, but I would definitely recommend going. Also, entertainment wise, I went to a comedy club with my program. That was so fun. Going to see something on the West End, the ballet. And I'd also recommend gigs. Find a local pub, find local gigs of local bands, and just go. You never know what could happen, first of all. Second of all, it's just so cool. It's a nice way to meet people. It's a nice way to, if you're not really into like the club scene, I'd say bars, pubs, and like gigs are a good alternative to meeting people and just experiencing that type of nightlife. Something I miss the most about London is being able to just go to a museum and just walk around and just like hang out, because most of the time they're free, especially for students. V&A, Natural History, Tate Modern. I loved the Tate Modern. I hated modern art until I got to London. I spent probably like multiple hours just standing around and looking at these pieces of modern art, and it did something to me, like spiritually. This is another topic I'm very passionate about. My favorite areas of London. Every section of London is so different. The areas where I spent the most time and I loved the most, especially when I was on my own, Bloomsbury, Chelsea, Chinatown, Shoreditch is like the coolest place ever, Paddington. I really like St. John's Wood. That was like a little quieter. Notting Hill is nice. The best places to just kind of like wander around. London's really good at that, where you kind of don't really have to have a plan. You can just kind of start walking and things will fall into place. And it's also massive. London is massive. So be prepared for that. Like, you can't just walk from Buckingham Palace to Tower Bridge. That's a far walk. And you don't really think about that, but it is. And then travel wise, I went to a lot of places outside of London. I was very lucky. It's very easy to travel once you're in Europe, around Europe, to use like Eurail, buses sometimes, trains, like anything. It's really easy to travel, and it's easy to figure out like the cheapest options to stay in hostels, Airbnbs, that type of thing. My top recommendation, the places I think I had the most fun in, that I think were worth it the most: Dublin, a bajillion percent. I couldn't recommend that enough. We went for St. Patrick's Day. It was very overwhelming, but the day after, when it was just like kind of calmed down a little, I loved Dublin so much. I love the people there. It's such a beautiful city. And then we went a little bit around the countryside, which was so nice. So I couldn't recommend Dublin enough. Marseille in the south of France. People down there are so sweet in my experience. I speak a little bit of French, so that definitely helped me. Amsterdam, I loved. Paris, how can you not love Paris? Sorry. Edinburgh, incredible, so Harry Potter core. And then I also went to Barcelona. I didn't love it when I was there, but I could definitely see the potential. So if you're thinking about going, I would definitely go. And I would also say places that I wish I went to while I was abroad because of what other people said and whatever, but couldn't get to. Portugal, I wish I had gone to Portugal, oh my god. Brighton, I was so upset I didn't make it down there. I've been before and I love it, and I'm so upset that I didn't go, but it just, time escaped me. When you go abroad, you kind of have two options. You can either really get to know the city that you're in and spend a lot of time there and sacrifice going to as many other countries as you may want, or you can travel a bunch and barely be in your city. And I chose the first option for sure, and I don't regret it at all. By the end of my time there, I knew London like the back of my hand. I would have rather that, like really gotten to know London, than get to know a bunch of places like a little bit surface level. I think I really created a home for myself in London, and it was a very beautiful thing. So I don't regret spending as much time as I did there and not traveling the whole time. But the first month I didn't leave London, which was really nice because I got settled in and I made it my home before I went. And then I was like, oh, I miss home. I miss London. I never really got homesick because London became my home. Now I'm just gonna go into some bits of advice that I have. I have so many thoughts about studying abroad. It's my Roman Empire. I think about it all the time, okay? This is just like some things that I would say to someone who is studying abroad. London specifically, I would say don't be afraid to go outside of the normal areas. As I said before, I lived in Harrow, which is in Zone 4, an area most people would never go to unless you knew someone there. Don't be afraid to venture outside of the home base of Zone 1 because there are many beautiful things in the other zones. So don't be scared to go outside of Zone 1. Also, I would say try local experiences very often. Like, keep yourself grounded in the place that you are and don't always hang out with people from like your home country or people you knew before, because then you're not going to get the most out of your experience. Branch out, make new friends, don't rely on anyone, don't use anyone as a crutch. And like going off of that, talk to people from the country that you're visiting. Make friends with those people, talk to people in your classes, befriend them. That's always like an easy way to talk to those people. Some of the friendships I valued the most were the ones that I made with people in my classes and who lived in the same like campus as me, who stayed there full time, and who I still talk to this day. It's so sweet. Another piece of advice I would say is travel with people you align with. Don't just travel with anyone, because they can make or break a trip that you go on or an excursion, because most of the time you don't have too much time. You want to use your time wisely and try to avoid traveling people who you might regret traveling with and who don't have the same expectations as you. Club wise and going out wise, this was something I was so unfamiliar with going into it. When I studied abroad, I was 20 years old, so I had no experience with clubs. Clubs will have coat checks. Most of the time you have to pay, most of the time it's not that much, but like wear a coat and just coat check it. It's not a big deal. Also, if you don't have a promoter to a place or don't need a promoter, you're gonna have to buy a ticket in advance. Just be prepared. Like, look at a club's website, look at their dress code. I used to do that at the beginning. Look at the like FAQ of a club before you go out. Also, if you're foreign, have your ID on you at all times, and also have a picture of your passport, because sometimes at a club or when you're drinking or whatever, they're gonna ask for a picture of your passport, and it's always handy to have it. Put it in your favorites folder on your phone, like always have that really readily available. I only ever brought a bag with me on a night out when it was like a Mayfair club. If you're going to like a huge club, don't bring a bag. Figure out a way to put your phone and your like ID and things in like your pants or like your pocket, but not your back pocket. Like, be very cautious. I used to string my lanyard with my ID in it into my pants. Be cautious of your things. Also, a little like kind of random thing, always carry a lighter. That's like a good trick from me to you. Always carry a lighter, you never know who might need one. That's my little girl advice. Also, I would say take lots of pictures. When I was abroad, those pictures I look at all the time. Take so many pictures, document everything. You're gonna wanna look back on how you were feeling, what was happening. Bring a journal, write in your computer, write in your notes app, like document everything. Some more deep personal advice: don't focus on school too heavily. Be independent, don't rely on people, because that can be a crutch. My goal going into study abroad was say yes to everything, and it made all the difference. I think going into that with that open mindset really changed a lot for me, and is the reason why I had such an amazing experience. And I would just say, be open to everything. It's the best way to make friends while abroad. Alternatively, I would also say don't be afraid to do things alone. If you want to do something, just do it. Don't wait around for other people to want to do it also. Especially in London, it's so common to be alone. It's so common to do things alone. I would be like a little nervous about going to like a restaurant alone or a cafe, and then the people next to me would also be alone, so it would be so relieving. In London, it's so common. That's everything I have about studying abroad. I couldn't recommend doing it enough. It was the best decision I ever made in my whole life. If you want anything else related to being abroad, I have so many videos. Every place I went to, I filmed. Yeah, that's it. Live, love, London. That's all I gotta say. Live, learn, London.